Anyway, it's good. Welcome everybody. It's 10th of, what is it, October, 8 o'clock. That is here in Dublin, Ireland. Welcome. It's great to have you. My name is Erik. We're going to do another webinar. And this time it's about overcoming self-doubts. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're obviously here on Zoom. And then what else? There's YouTube, obviously, right? So what can you expect tonight? Well, obviously the talk is all about self-doubt. And if I would ask you, do you want to be in a condition where you're doubting yourself? Most likely going to say no. If I would say, what would you rather be? Confident or doubtful about yourself? You probably say confident. So what is it that if you want to be confident that you can't seem to be and that you have self-doubts? So we want to know, like, where is that coming from? Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to cover tonight. Also showing you something that can be done about it in order to improve that condition. Now, I want to welcome, first of all, you guys who are here tonight on Zoom. And I also want to ask you a question while I'm actually just going to run over the names. I want to ask you a question. Could you please let me know where you are from and what brought you here tonight to this webinar? So if you're a fast typer, maybe you want to let us know quickly in the chat. What brought you here? Do you have any special interest? Is there anything you're running into, anything you're struggling with, anything you want to remedy, you want to improve, you want to better about yourself? What is the thing that brought you here tonight? And likewise, it's also great to know, where are you from? And then a quick question. I think the microphone is working quite all right, but can you let me know as well if the microphone is okay, if we are loud and clear? Now, we got Anaï Vieux, and I suppose, Anaï, you might be from France. Anyway, welcome, great to have you. And then we have Batman, I love that. Okay, good, so we got a superhero tonight. Fantastic, welcome Batman. Then we have Cindy, welcome Cindy. Den, is this your third time, Den? You've been here already a couple of times, nice to see you again. And let's see, who else? We got Divina. Divina, that is our divine lady. Beautiful. Thank you, Divina, for being here. And we got Ellie from Worcester, I suppose. Great to have you, Ellie. We got Hannah. All right, Hannah, great to have you. Joseph. Joseph, have you been around before? Seems like your name rings a bell with my mind. Anyway, it's great to have you. Giovanna Ramdas. Nice. That's lovely. I wonder where you're from, Giovanna. Maybe you can let us know. Ramdas. No idea what country to think of when I see your name. And then we got Orla Oshia. Beautiful, guys. Okay, wonderful. It's great to have you here. So, all right. So we got Ali. I'm a new room leader in. Okay, hang on. Just a quick thingy. You got to scroll quickly here. I'm a new room leader in childcare and struggle with confidence. And you're from Ireland. Okay, all right, Ali. Thank you very much for the answer. Anna from West London. Okay, beautiful. All right, now, in the meantime, maybe there's some more answers coming in. And I just want to actually, kind of like get started with a slide, simply to show you how self-doubts affect you. Yeah, I'm not gonna elaborate on that much, but you can actually see what people struggle with when it comes to self-doubt. Pavel is here, my colleague. He's gonna put on the first slide for you. And yeah, there it is. It's the lion looking in the mirror and seeing this little kitty cat. Now, all right, so I'm just curious if you can recognize yourself in any of these points. Yeah, so we got 13 points there on the slide. Do you recognize yourself in any of these points? For example, number one, overthinking every choice, fearing you'll make the wrong one, or avoiding decisions altogether. You let somebody else choose or decide instead. Maybe you're second guessing a lot. Did I do the right thing? Maybe you're holding back. You're not speaking up. You're not trying new things. You're not pursuing opportunities. Maybe you feel insecurity. Am I truly valued? Am I truly loved? Yeah. Do you actually, are you in need of that neediness, or you're withdrawing? Do you constantly try to prove your worth to others? In other words, overcompensation. Do you see anxiety, constant worry about being judged or failing, or a low self-esteem, a chronic sense of not being good enough? Maybe some depressive symptoms, lack of motivation, lack of joy. Maybe you're missing opportunities, you're not applying for jobs, pursuing goals, exploring relationships, stunted growth, avoiding risks, limits learning and self-discovery, right? Now, maybe you can see the underperformance. If you believe that you're not good enough, you may unintentionally fulfill that belief. Number 13, dependence on external validation. Seeking reassurance because you feel that you cannot really trust your own judgment. All right, so Hannah says definitely number 7. All right, just curious about the rest of you. Would you give me a couple of numbers there? Anything that stands out for you that you feel like, all right, yeah, I can definitely see this in my character or in my behavior? Be good to, all right, Ali says 1, 2, 7. So the overthinking, avoiding decisions, all right, and anxiety. All right, thank you, Ali. Thanks for that honesty. Okay, now, all right, let's see if we can get a few more answers here. Maybe there's even a common denominator. So we got 2 times number 7 here, the anxiety, the worry about being judged or failing in the things that you intend to do. And we have a number 3 as well. Okay, good. Now, second guessing. Yeah, did I do the right thing? Anyway, so you have a bit of an idea, yeah? You have a bit of an idea what that self-doubt causes, right? In what way it affects you. Now, a quick question. I'm gonna just leave that in here right now, these numbers from 1 to 13, just for a few minutes. Not just for a few seconds. But I have a question. Do you have a question? If you recognize yourself in any of those, do you want to be like that? I mean, it's a rather blunt, it's a rather obvious, it's a rather, I don't know, stupid question. Yeah, it's obviously stupid to ask such a question. Do you want to be like that? Because this, believe it or not, it is like step number 1 in the whole mystery. Like, why am I that way if I do not want to be that way, right? Why am I like this if I don't want to be like that? So you can tell a person, for example, to say, oh, I've noticed you're quite shy. And the person says, yes, that's true. Well, do you want to be shy? Well, no, of course not. All right, so have you ever thought about this? Why are you shy if you don't want to be shy? The person, oh, never actually looked at it as such, right? So here's the thing. There's something going on. It seems to be running on full automatic. Something is running there on full automatic, apparently against you. And that's what we're going to have a look at tonight. So to me, it seems like it's because of fear of past mistakes. Absolutely, yeah. But we want to know, Ellie, what is at the bottom of it? Yeah, what causes these feelings? You could also ask, well, why am I afraid? Why do I feel that fear? Where is this coming from? Okay, now, post-traumatic incidents, perhaps. Now we're actually getting close. We're about to nail the whole thing. All right, good. Let's take the picture away, Pavel. I'm just going to ask you something quickly. Have you ever heard Have you ever heard that we only use 10% of our potential? Have you ever heard that? That we only use like 10% of our potential. You've heard that, right? Now, okay, so this is going to unravel that mystery a little bit, yeah? So, does it make sense then that you're not using 90%? Does it make sense? You're not using the 90%? Okay, right. Now, do you know how you can tell? Do you know how you can tell that you're not using the 90%? I'm going to give you the answer. And it's very simple. There's things you want to do and you don't do them. That shows that you're not using that 90%, yeah? We're going to develop this, we're going to elaborate on this data, yeah? But just give it a thought. There's things you want to do and you don't do them. That's why you're not using that 90%. So for example, let's go back to your childhood. You were a kid in primary school and the teacher was putting something on the board and you were squinting your eyes and like, oh, what is he trying to say there? And then you looked around at the other kids, oh, he seems to get it, and oh, she seems to get it. I'm not getting it. And then you wanted to raise your arm and ask the question. And something told you, they're probably going to think I'm stupid if I do that. And you lowered your arm again. Something there was holding you back. Is that right? Something was limiting you. There was this feeling there that got over you, that thought there that got over you, that told you, I better not do this because of whatever. We're going to have a look at that. Yeah? Does that make some sense? Just the whole concept that there's things we want to do and we don't do them because something is holding us back. It's a certain feeling, is a certain emotion, is a certain thought that holds us back. Limiting beliefs or core beliefs, exactly. Yeah, there we go. Now, I'm gonna show you something because I'm gonna be using data from this book. That's the book. It's called Dianetics. Maybe you can put a picture on the screen quickly, Pavel. I think you have a picture, yeah? So you can just put that quickly on the screen. There we go. All right. So that's this is an international bestseller on the mind. It sold 22 million copies. You can get it in 50 languages. You can literally get it from Arabic to Zulu. That's how big it is. Now, why is that book so special? This book is the only book, or I would say there's no other book on the planet that describes the mind more accurately than this book does. The word itself, Dianetics, means through the mind, or what your mind is doing to you. It tells you what is the true source of your stress, what is the true source of that lack of confidence. And it tells you why it keeps happening again and again and again, and it tells you where it's coming from. But it also gives you the tools to get rid of that and to improve that condition. All right, take the picture away, please. Now, just very quickly, because like I said, I'm going to give you data that's coming directly from the book. But the book says, it says there, for example, it's called the Modern Science of Mental Health. All right, now, have you ever brought your car to a garage and the car needed to be fixed because there was something wrong with the engine? And you asked the mechanic, what is wrong with my car? And the guy just looked at it very, very puzzledly, and he says, well, this is probably going to take us 10 years to fix this. You'd say, well, you obviously don't know what you're talking about. You obviously don't know your business. You know, anybody can fix my car in a day or in a week or whatever. Nobody would tell you it's going to take 10 years. Now, unfortunately, in mental health, this is quite common. You start your therapy, and let's say you come in with your depression, or you come in with your, you know, whatever it is that you want to handle, and then you find 10 years later that a lot of people who have started this trajectory, they're still the same. Nothing has really changed. So, and that is what gave mental health a bad name, a bad reputation. Doesn't mean it's all bad out there. This is one of those gems that actually, when you apply that stuff, you get real results. You can see real changes, and they come really fast. Okay, now, for anybody who's interested, by the end of the evening, I'm going to give you a link if you want to get yourself a copy. I definitely recommend it. It's one of those must reads. Now, back to the mind, because that book deals with the mind. But what is the mind? I'm going to give you a very, very simple example. Now, let's say you are at a concert. And what do you see people do? You see people holding up their phone, right? And then they're recording. So, you know, there's an audience over there. It's cool, and there's a gig going on. There's a band playing. And see how enthusiastic these people are, and they're just recording. Then they come home, and they take that phone again and say, okay, well, let's replay that stuff. Let's have a look at this again. Your mind does exactly that. Your mind is essentially a recording machine that can replay. Let that sink in for a moment. Everything that you experience in your life, you are recording. It's like you have a camera and you are constantly recording. Everything you do in life, everything you experience in life, you are constantly recording. And then in your mind, you can look at that recording again. I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember what you had for breakfast or lunch today? So let me know in the chat. Do you remember what you had for breakfast or lunch today? Did you get a picture? Could you see where you had your breakfast or lunch? Can you see again what was on your plate? Can you see again with whom you had breakfast or lunch together? All right? Okay, good. So what you just did, you just replayed that little snippet of that bigger recording. Does that make sense? You're just replaying that little snippet of that bigger recording. So it's very simple. Voila, there it is. What's the mind? It is a recording machine, and that you can use to replay when you need it. Okay, so how does that work? Well, let's say you come home, you got your keys here, and you drop them on the table, and you go to room A, and then you go to room B, and then you decide to go to the attic, and then you decide to take a shower, and then you look at your watch and say, oh my God, I gotta do some shopping. So you put your coat on, you're ready to leave your house, you put your hands in your pockets. So where's my keys? What you gonna do? You're gonna look at your recordings. You're gonna just contemplate for a moment, and then at some point your mind will give you that snippet recording again. So, oh yeah, hang on, I got home and I put my keys on the dresser, on the table, whatever. Yeah, so you can replay those recordings. So that's how you use your mind. Okay, now let's take that to the next level. And we're gonna make this a bit more exciting now. We'll make this a bit more fascinating. So what I want you to do for a moment is imagine that you are sitting in your kitchen. And if you don't have a kitchen because you have a, I don't know, whatever circumstance you live in, let's say you don't have a kitchen, just take the kitchen where you lived before. So just imagine for a moment you are sitting in your kitchen. Now, what I want you to do, I cannot see you, but I would like to invite you to do this funny exercise. I guarantee you, it's a lot of fun. You're going to see that in a moment. Do this exercise. I want you to, from where you're sitting, just point at the fridge. Go ahead, point it out. Locate where is the fridge in that kitchen. Just think for a moment, have a look at that kitchen, and say, well, where's the fridge? And it would be right over there. Just go ahead and point it out for yourself. Now, next thing I want you to do is find the cooker and point at it. And if you have that, now find the nearest window and point at the nearest window. Now, where would the table be? Where's the table? Maybe it's right there in front of you. Right. Now, where's the door? I can see myself in the kitchen again. I have one over there, one over there. There were two. So find the door. All right. Now, were you able to do this? Were you able to do this? Give me a yes or a no. All right. Beautiful. We got some yeses already. Now, did you also get to see some pictures there? Could you see an image of the fridge? Could you see an image of the cooker? Could you see an image of the window, an image of the door, the table? Did you get some images there? Yep. All right. Okay, so isn't that fascinating? Let's do a little sketch here. So, your mind makes pictures. What is so fascinating about these pictures? Well, what we could see is that these pictures, they are three-dimensional. Isn't that amazing? They're not like two-dimensional Polaroids. They're actually three-dimensional. So you can think of something and it pops up in space. But hey, here's something very, very interesting going on. There is an apparency that there's nothing there. All right? Let me elaborate on that. So your mind makes pictures and you have the apparency that there's nothing there. You cannot touch those pictures. You cannot take those pictures in your hands and put them on a scale to see how much they weigh. You cannot take these pictures and size them up with a centimeter. So, oh, that picture is so long and so high and that wide. You cannot do that. So these pictures are not materialistic. They're immaterial. They're ethereal. They got no substance. So you have an apparency that there is nothing there. But there is something there because you just experienced it, didn't you? Let's think that over. So your mind has got that very stuff that you cannot pinpoint, you cannot feel, you cannot touch, you cannot weigh. It has no substance. It has the apparency that is not even there. But it is there because you can experience that. Does that make sense? Yeah, this is really fascinating stuff because when we feel miserable, when we feel in doubt, when we feel anxious, when we feel upset, when we are in grief, whatever, could it be that you are actually influenced by these pictures that create an effect on you, but you have no idea what you're looking at. Does that make sense? There's the fascinating part. Are you getting me? Are you getting me, or should I repeat that again? Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Would those be pictures from the past, Hannah? Yes. Yeah, we're gonna cover that. Now, I'm gonna give you a little, I'm gonna be impolite. I use an impolite word. I'm gonna give you a little mind fuck here. Yeah, because we already did that a little bit with these pictures. Like, damn, nothing there, but there is something there because it affects me. Now, but how about these 3D pictures? Something there that you can obviously point out. Okay, kitchen around me, fridge over there, window over here, table over there, cooker over there, door over here. Three-dimensional picture. We have been taught and we have heard that the mind is in the brain. Not true. Not true. If that was true, then psychology might actually have worked. But it did not improve anybody's IQ. It did not raise anybody's ability or confidence. So there's something with that theory. And it is a theory because there was never any scientific or medical proof. One is actually trying to prove that the memory is in the brain, but there is no 100% proof. And this just nailed it. You're looking at pictures, things about you. You did not say, let me see. The fridge is right here, and the door is right there in the back, and the table is in the center, and the window is next to my temple. You didn't do that. You pointed about you. Right away we see your mind is something, your brain is something else. Two distinct entities. The book I showed you deals with the mind. It doesn't deal with the brain. Okay? Now, obviously, where we're going to go is that the mind has a flaw. What is that flaw? What is that flaw? Let's do a little sketch again. Just realized I need to clean the board. There we go. Now, let's say we take an example of a husband and wife, Joe and Mary, and they love each other very much. There's Joe and Mary. They love each other very much. But this is 8 a.m. in the morning. Joe happens to be in a terrible mood. And there's an altercation between Joe and Mary. And he's just lashing out at her. And he's furious for some reason. He kicks her out of the house verbally. Just leave my house. So Mary is quite panicky. And she's going to go to work. There's Mary. She is sitting behind her desk. Let's imagine it's 11 a.m. Now, I want to ask you, where is her attention? Is her attention there at her computer? In other words, is her attention at doing her work, or is her attention over here? What happened in the morning? Somebody's been very fast. Then, thank you very much. You are so spot on as always, and it's on the argument. I think many of you would probably agree, right? It's going to be a bit hard for Mary to have her attention at work. So, let's have a look now. What exactly is that flaw in the mind? Let's do the sketch now with the pictures. So Mary's, I hope you can see that. It's maybe the green is a bit dull, but Mary's attention is on these. Mary's attention is on these recordings. Does that make sense? Yeah, does the mind attach emotions? Absolutely, it does. Yeah, so Mary's attention is on her recordings. Does that make sense? I think Hannah already said, yeah, right? I just want to make sure, get that point across for the rest of you. So Mary's attention is not there, but her attention is at those recordings. Now, what is she doing with her mind? What is she doing? She is replaying. Exactly. Damn, Ellie. Beautiful. She's replaying a part of the recording. And how is she doing that? She's replaying this over and over and over and over and over and over again. Now, can she shake it and just say, well, all right, that recording was done. I'm going to park it where it belongs at 8 a.m. I'm just going to park it there. I'm going to come to present time. I'm going to leave that recording alone, and I'm just going to put my attention here on the screen. Is she able to do that? Are you trying to give me an answer before I finish my question? I find this hilarious. That is so good. That's just beautiful. I just look at the screen and have the answer already before I finish the question. But, so, in other words, she's not able to leave that recording alone. Okay? Now, this is the flaw in our minds. We are still running around with recordings that are playing in the background. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not cut out for that. I don't know how to do it. And so on. We're still having these recordings running in the background. We are no longer aware of where they came from. And we were never able to put them back where they belong. Okay? So we want to see exactly how can we switch this off. Okay? Yeah. How can we switch that off and keep it from replaying all the time. Now, that's the flaw, right? In very, very simplistic terms. Okay, so you have seen already how to turn this off. You have seen that. You have experienced that. I'm going to give you the example again. Okay, so here's Mary. At the end of the day, she sees no other way but just have a talk with Joe. Find out what went wrong. So Mary's going home. So let's say it's 9 p.m. Joe and Mary, they are together. Joe has calmed down and he is full of regret. He didn't mean that to happen at all. Mary is able to talk to Joe about her feelings, and she's getting off all that negative baggage. And Joe fully understands, apologizes, says it was never meant to happen. Didn't know what got into him. But they come to a point where they feel love for one another again. Because she was able to find somebody who would listen to her, not judge her, not tell her like, oh yes, but you did. Joe zipped his mouth and he just took everything, and he showed full understanding for Mary's feelings and upsets. Mary was able to unload all that negative baggage. Now, if that would be the case, do you think that she would feel a relief if she could do that? Ellie, if you got a question, all right, you can ask me the question. So, if Mary would actually be able to unload all that negativity, do you think she could actually have a relief? You think that could be a yes or a no? Come on, guys, give me a yes or no. Both? Well, that could be a yes and a no, right? Okay, good. Now, you have seen the yes, most likely, when you had a problem and you spoke with a friend about that problem, and all of a sudden you say, hey, I think I just saw the light. I feel relieved. Something dissipated, right? So, one possibility is that, yeah, she does feel that relief. Another possibility might be, here's the twist in the whole thing. Another possibility might be that something else, after unloading all that baggage, something else now comes to her mind, and she said, you know what? I had a similar experience with either with him or with somebody else, and all of a sudden her mind is presenting that something earlier that happened to her that she didn't feel good about. If she's able to unload that baggage as well, that relief most likely will come. Now, I'm going to ask you, if they come to a mutual understanding and they can hug each other again, let's say that would happen, is Mary's attention then still at what happened here? So if there's a perfect communication between them, and Joe shows full understanding when he apologizes, He doesn't make Mary wrong in any way. And Mary is able to get everything unloaded, all that negative baggage. Yeah. What could happen is that her attention is no longer there. It has freed up. Just a simple example, yeah? Many times it will work like that. Just to give you an idea. Many times it will work like that. Okay, now, let's imagine this. We're going to go back. We're going to go back to this situation where we started initially. This is altercation. Mary goes to work, right? She's still upset about the whole thing. HR comes over and HR, Human Resources, tells Mary to do a test, personality test, IQ test. She's in a bad shape. How is that test going to be? Probably not too good, right? Now let's imagine we go back here. They make up the damage. They get that negativity out of their system. Next day, there she is on her chair. And now HR comes back. Telling Mary, listen, Mary, we think something might have gone bad with your test yesterday. Would you mind doing it again? What do you think? Is the test going to be better right now? And then, yes, she could have relief, but if she's very insecure, she might continue to ruminate. Yes, absolutely. So, we need to find out why that happens. Okay, so, yes, unless she's anxious about failing yesterday. Yeah. So, here's like this is a tentative situation, right? A possible situation. Just giving you an idea, when somebody has something replaying in the background and then gets that gone out of the system, it no longer replays. What you see is that the person feels a relief. The person cheers up. The person feels better. The person is now arriving or has arrived here in present time, no longer living in the past. So the performance over there would be better. Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you think that your mind is recording when you're in extreme pain or unconscious? Please give me an answer to that. I'm going to wipe the board. Do you think your mind is recording when you're in extreme pain or unconscious? Somebody says yes, and somebody says no. All right. And my colleague Pavel, it just tells me somebody says nothing. I think that's quite funny. Guys, we gotta have a sense of humor, doesn't it? Right? Okay, so now here's a fascinating part. So, like I said in the beginning of the webinar, yeah, your mind is like a recording machine. It records everything that you experience in your life. You are even recording when you are undergoing surgery on the operation table. You are even recording when you're in mommy's womb. And mommy is bending over in order to tie her shoelaces. And you go like, that's all recorded. Where do you think your back pain or your asthma or your migraines are coming from? That stuff is recorded. Your birth is recorded. Yeah, accidents are recorded. Now, if you think back, unfortunately, I don't have a door behind me, but let's imagine, maybe I can draw a door. Let's imagine there's a door, and you put your fingers there. You had it as a child, right? And then the door closes on your fingers. If you just think back about that for a moment, do you get some sensation when you feel that door closing on your fingers? Yeah, pain. Now, interesting. What happens if you think back of a moment, let's say, of a blood test? You stretch your arm, right? Just imagine that needle just goes in again. That syringe, you feel that syringe. Maybe sometimes you've seen it on TV. Do you get that sensation again, like you want to pull back your arm? Ever notice that one? Have you seen that? All right, good. Now, that tells you there is, if we go back to that picture, like there's something there that you cannot really touch, but I'm going to get to you, Pavel, in a second. Yeah, there's that picture there that affects you, but you don't know what you're looking at. So there's some kind of a force affecting you. You don't know what it is. That's what we need to find out right now. So you're saying that the door is from where our monster is coming through. Well, what I'm saying is that you have a recording of it. That recording has pain as part of it that you can now replay and feel again. But you do that even without your consent. You do that even without you knowing that you do so. So here's how it works. I'm going to give you the next example. So let's say you are walking down an alley. And it's dark. It's night. So you're walking down a dark alley. You're recording the alley. It's got some lights. It's dark. Maybe there's a moon, whatever. It's kind of quiet. The last thing that you hear is footsteps behind you. And then all of a sudden, you feel this excruciating pain. You go knock out. So, you're recording here. There you have an incident where you are you're in a dark alley. You're walking down that alley. The next thing is that you are on the floor. That is all recorded here. So obviously what happens here, you are in pain. Now, pain is a certain force. That pain is not only physical pain, that is also emotional pain. Okay, so let's imagine you got these pictures, just like you're carrying suitcase with you. You're carrying these pictures with you every day. All these pictures, all these recordings, you just carry them with you all the time. So now, 2 years later, same guy. He's walking. All of a sudden, he is finding himself in an alley again. There's a power outage. The lights go off. He hears some footsteps. What is his mind going to tell him? Let me read in the meantime. What is the story here? Oh la la. Yeah, so, all right. Save Mustafa. Yeah, so Pablo's gonna give you give you my telephone number, my WhatsApp number. Feel free to send me a text message. All right, now don't walk through it. Yeah, do you think at that point he is going to get some kind of a sensation that comes over him that takes control of him? You think that's going to happen? Some kind of a sensation is going to take control of him. All of a sudden he feels scared. All of a sudden perhaps he feels numb. All of a sudden he feels like he cannot move. Or perhaps he feels like he should run. Do you think something's going to come over him that controls him and he can no longer really think logically or rationally? Do you think that's going to happen? So I can also ask you, if he is over here 1 year later, what do you think he is looking at that point? Is he looking about him in the alley, or is he actually replaying the past incident? So what is he going to do? Is he going to replay that past incident, or is he able to stay in present time and just observe the environment? Give me an answer, guys. He's going to run. All right. Okay. Yes, flashback to the previous incident. Okay, replaying. Exactly. This is how it works. This is how it works. So that is the flaw in the mind. Maybe there's a friendly lady, her footsteps that he hears, but in the mind he has already identified this situation with a situation in the past. Okay, so what is the problem here? That replay is automatic. I'm going to give you one more example because we are very close to 9 o'clock. Definitely want to give you another 10 minutes if you bear with me. We can see where we are getting at. The flaw in the mind is the automatic replay that goes on and it doesn't shut off. Now, if you see how that plays out in your life, let's say you have to speak in public. I cannot be here, Pavel, and be with your question. Feel free to answer the question. Yeah, feel free to answer the question. So, how do these things play out in life? Yeah, how does it play out? Let's say you have to speak in public. Something goes on automatic replay. Now you have the knot in your stomach. You got the butterfly feelings. Your legs, they go kind of shaky, not very steady any longer. Maybe you want to try to hold the paper still, and you can't. You're kind of like that, very nervous. You may have a dry throat, and all of a sudden your mind goes blank. Something controls you, which is the automatic replay. And you don't control it. You cannot shake it. So imagine if you could put a stop to that automatic replay, if you could be in control over your mind, rather your mind being in control over you, then you got the problem solved. Now, needless to say, the answer is in the book. How do you do that? So, just to give you another example, yeah? Let's imagine now that you are on the operation table. You're on the operation table. There's two surgeons. One says, "How is your wife?" The other one says, you can't trust women, or you can't trust your wife. Or you could say, "I don't trust my wife." Well, let's say it would be something like this. "I don't trust my wife." Do you think that the guy here on the surgery table is actually recording that message in his mind? Could it be that he makes a full recording of it? What do you think? Not sure, huh? Yes, which is really fascinating. Absolutely. So, we got this guy here. He's recording the whole thing subconsciously. That is the subconscious mind. Below his awareness level, he is recording the whole damn experience. Now, that stuff can actually go on automatic replay without him knowing what he's actually thinking. So he's looking at something, it affects him, he hasn't got the faintest clue what he's looking at. Now, you can imagine, his wife is always home in time. One day she's late. Hopla! The automatic recording starts. I can't trust my wife. Where have you been? You see, I knew it. I knew that I can't trust you. And now you got something as idiotic as that. Okay, so what is the solution? What is the solution? It's basically you got a bunch of those silly recordings in your mind. They're going on La La Land, replaying all the time, making you feel that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, you don't have experience, you're not cut out for this. No, that gets me stress, and so on. So it's just chopping your confidence, right? So that's simply because you got that stuff in there that is holding you back. That's your 90% comes from that idiocy of these incidents which are in your subconscious mind, now playing in the background, holding you back the whole time, right? That's what it is. Okay, so all we need to do is make you become aware of what kind of recordings they are, and you say, now I understand where it's coming from. By that time, they will no longer run in the background. By that time, you've actually put them in the bin because you found out for yourself, I don't need that crap. I don't need these memories because there's nothing valuable about it. Does that make sense? Yeah, really fascinating, right, Hannah? Okay, now there is a procedure in the book. And it's called auditing. Comes from audi, which means to listen. And is a very specific method that zeroes in to find the exact moments which are on automatic replay and keeping you down so that you discover them and you can actually ditch them. You can stop the automatic replay. The way it's done is with a person who has studied the book, who actually has learned the method of auditing, just like Joe and Mary, I would actually went over the whole thing. This person here would help that person to locate and clean up the certain recordings that have been doing this person in. So just to let you know, there is a procedure for that. I can't really go into it because I would keep you another 15 minutes, but it's very simple to learn. It's very simple to do, and the results, the feeling, the certainty you get from that is just absolutely great. Okay, good. So where are our experiences recorded when we're present in subconscious mind? No. So, and you basically, the book distinguishes two types of the mind. The analytical mind, right? These are just memories. These are things which are just for grabs. You remember a moment that you were on holidays and boom, all right, you have the picture. I can see the hotel again. I can see the swimming pool again. I remember I was sitting on a stretcher with a cup of coffee next to the swimming pool. These are memories. Those things there, those moments of pain and unconsciousness, those are like etched in your system, but they're not really ready as a memory. These are like recordings, but not memories because they're not easily for grabs to look at. Nevertheless, they're there. They're just the kind of recording that is below your awareness. So the book will actually tell you how to get your awareness up, so you become more and more aware of those moments, those type of recordings that are in your subconscious mind, and at that moment they no longer affect you. And that means you're now in control over your own emotions, you're now in control over your own feelings, and you're now in control over your own behaviors, rather than something else putting you under stress and keeping you down. Basically, yeah, I would invite you to read the book, and that will actually get you the full answer. At this point, I actually want to share the link with you, because it's pretty amazing. Like I said, you can have it in 50 languages. You can have it from Arabic to Zulu. You can have it in Filipino. You can have it in, I don't know, in Farsi, in Brazilian Portuguese, or in Castellano Spanish, and Latin American Spanish, and German, and English, whatever you want. That book is a life changer. Just the information alone is going to, give you so much more knowledge about yourself. And with that, you have a tool to help you, yourself. You also have a tool to help somebody else. Get the link, Pavel. All right, there's the link. Okay. Now, I'm just going to shut up for a minute, let you have a look. In case that you, I'm going to make you this deal, yeah? In case that you want the book, and you want to get a couple of free videos from me, like films that come with the book, I'll be very happy to send that to you. Yeah, I can send you testimonials, but I'm also happy to have a personal communication with you. Maybe say, hey, Erik, I want to try a free session. I want to try this stuff. I want to see how it works. And I'll be happy to help you out with that, give you a free session so you can actually experience that. All right, then. Thank you. See you again. Lovely. Great for having you here. Sorry for keeping you 9 minutes longer. Hannah, thank you so much. Yes, you are most welcome, Hannah. I hope you enjoyed it. Very insightful. Yeah, so we just have 1 hour, yeah? What we're working on, I'm going to try to set that up this week. I'm going to see if I can actually show you some films in the future. We want to figure this out, how to do it with Zoom. It shouldn't be too hard. And then in the near future, we're going to do some films to make it even more insightful, yeah? Yeah, get the book, Hannah. Definitely click on the link. Get it tonight. I'll throw in an extra gift for you. Yeah, I'll do that. And it's gonna be on the post tomorrow morning. We'll take care of that. Hopefully, see you again. Yeah, we can even meet in person. Do a WhatsApp call. Do a Zoom call. I'm sure you have tons of questions after tonight. Wait, so how do you become more confident? Yes, by making yourself the one who is in control. You don't want your mind, you don't want your subconscious mind to control you and cause you the butterfly feelings and the insecurity and the self-doubt. You want to be in control over your recordings and memories. You don't want that automatic stuff going on in the background. You want to master that. The book is going to tell you exactly how to achieve that. All right. Good night, guys. It's been wonderful having you here. Thank you for your participation. I hope you loved it. Everybody on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, thank you very much. Next week, another topic. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now.